Hello and welcome. This is my 99 9.9 four-stroke outboard. We took it out for a spin a few days ago and it's got a little bit of problems, so we're gonna see if we can't figure that out today. But first, always something first. Gotta make some tools. Got a collection of gauges here. Looks like first up is a pressure / vacuum gauge, liquid filled. We then have a pressure gauge going from 3 to 15 psi. And we then have this gauge going from 0 to 60. So, nice little gauge setup. So, I suppose first we will, I suppose do the oil pressure gauge. I have these tubes. These are just basically pipe nipples, but they're long. And it'll take our fitting on our gauge, which is a 1/4 inch NPT, to a 1/8 inch NPT. Alright, got my fuel fittings. Gonna need some hose. Okay, we need some thread sealant. I picked up this Loctite thread stick, which is pretty good according to the Loctite website. The fuel line zip ties now. Alright, so there's our fuel pressure for the tank. So it'll plug in and that'll plug in and tell us what it is, hopefully. Now there's not going to be that much pressure, like 3 psi, so it's only going to move a little bit. But it'll tell us what it's doing, if it's got a vacuum pressure or whatever the case may be. Should be under vacuum, but we'll see. Alright, now for the fuel pump gauge, this is kind of the important one. Same concept, just gonna put some of this junk on there. So this will go between the fuel pump and the carburetor. So we'll put one here. This will just plug into the fuel pump and this will just plug into the carburetor. And it should already have a line, so we only need one little bit of hose there. This is our oil pressure gauge. So to do these tests, you need to have the engine running and a pretty good RPM, like 4,000, 4,500 RPM, so almost full throttle. I don't want to put these things on the boat, go back down the river, use the time and effort just to see what it does. So we are going to be installing the 9.9 15 horsepower test wheel. This is an older test wheel made for 2 strokes, but it'll work good enough for a 4-stroke. We'll also be putting it in my test tank. Don't usually like doing that just because not everybody has one of those, but I don't know. I guess this is a demo on how to do it. You can figure out how you want to do it in your circumstances, but this is the easiest way for me right now to test these. Okay, let's install our oil pressure switch gauge thing. If this comes off, which it should go. Anyway, this is the oil pressure switch. So when no oil pressure, shuts the engine off. I don't know how it works. It just does. Let's get our gauge installed. A little long, but that's okay. Alright, tank looks disgusting, but that's perfectly fine. Trust me. Let's start pumping up some gas. And we're looking over. Interesting. It's leaking out of the top of the carburetor. Huh. Well, that's new. Couple of taps on the carburetor, and our fuel pressure is holding steady at 9 psi, which matches the fuel pressure on our line at just under 10 or 9 psi. No oil pressure yet, obviously. Anyway, so the carburetor mass leak seemed to have fixed itself with some tapping. So I'll give it a second, see if it starts. Okay, what is going on here? This thing was broken. Jesus, come on, motor. Probably a little flooded, huh? Alright, well, that took too long. At idle, fuel pump putting out 6 psi. Our line gauge, looks like it's out -1. So it's, I don't know, it's sucking, I guess. Oil pressure was at 38, 39. So at idle, we're fine. Letting the thing warm up. And to answer your question, yes, I am in a sealed garage with an engine running. So if I pass out, you know what happened. Anyway, there's this rubber plug on the intake manifold here. A little vacuum port of some, I don't know what it's for, I couldn't find it, it's mentioned in the book. But anyway, it had a pretty good crack on it. It barely fell off. I slapped on whatever size I had on there, and 3 pulls later, and here we are. You hear the occasional honking. I'd like to know what that's from. We're looking for 20 psi minimum of oil pressure at about 2,000 RPM, and we are at 35 at 700 or 800. Actually, I don't know where we are. Yeah, 700, 800, around there. Whatever its idle speed should be. Yeah, we're at 35, so at idle we're fine on our oil pressure. At 2,000 RPM we should be a minimum 20 psi. At 5,000 to 6,000 we should be at 35 to 40. So we're already there. So see how well this test propeller does. Oil pressure is still 35. Fuel pressure is at 6 psi. Started bogged down there, I don't know why. Notice a little hesitation there. It's the same thing I felt on the boat ramp. We have oil pressure, that's what matters. Let's see if we can get the sparking on film. There it is. You see it? nice little lightning show, huh? All right, robbed a coil off another motor. I don't hear any arcing in the start setter. Been running it out of gas for a while. Seems like it's finally about to die. You know, I've been standing here for 15 minutes, it seems. Yeah, alright, well, we'll continue waiting, I guess. Well, it's hard to really tell if anything's truly wrong with this. I mean, we've had, I don't know, plenty of two-strokes with bad ignition coils, and yeah, they spark like that. But the motor still runs fine. You just hear sparking, so you change the coil. I mean, this made a world of difference. So now that we know the fuel oil pressure is good, we can put the sender back in there. So, I don't know why our fuel pump was giving us issues when we were last out. I doubt it was ignition related. But it's working now, so I don't know. Could have been the tank fitting. Could be a lot of things to where it was sucking air instead of fuel. But either way, it wasn't duplicating the problem in the garage, and according to the pressure gauge, fuel pump's putting out how much fuel it's supposed to be, or at least the pressure it's supposed to. So I don't know, it's hard to tell if there's truly a problem right now, or if there is truly even anything to worry about. Doesn't seem like it according to my test there. This little vacuum cap, as I just learned, pretty easy to overlook. As far as the old coil goes, I mean, it kind of sucks. Guy a few weeks ago on a busy Saturday. He got a little 2.5 horse Nissan on that old tri-haul. I'll go look for stuff on here. The motor seems to be doing okay. Slight problem. Yeah. Who needs a motor? Forgot about the oars in this thing. Well, this thing actually doesn't come with oars. These are the oars out of the boat that blew away. Kept them because they had the mounts. I don't consider this a breakdown. It's only a breakdown if I got to get towed back. No towing doesn't count. Well, that's it for now, folks. Join me next time where I rebuild the starter.